Hi guys, it's Angie. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is the 5th time I have filmed this introduction because I am just off my game. Everything sounds stupid to me coming out of my mouth today. So I think I just need to go with it and just go with it. So anyway, welcome back to those who are repeat viewers, and welcome to anybody new. This is my first video for 2021. Yeah. I've done some stitching. I've done actually a lot of stitching, although most of that stitching started a week ago today. I did some stitching over the weekend, but up until New Year's Day, I didn't do anything. And in fact, on New Year's Day, I did very little. It was the 2nd and the 3rd that I really started doing some more stitching. And hold on a second. Jordy. My husband left a bowl on the floor that has some remnants of something salty. And he keeps going over there to lick it. And instead of me going over and picking it up so that he doesn't, I have to call him back over. But that's okay, because he's a good boy and he came right when I called. Yes, you are. You're a good boy. Yeah. Oh, and now you're going to bump the camera. I'd show him too. Well, let's see. You see him? Say hi, Jordy. Yeah, he's a good boy. Oh, and there's my closet. You can see that. What a mess. Okay, sorry. Oh, now he's up on my lap because he just wants the loves. He just wants all the loves. And he can have them because he's a good boy. Okay, get down, get down, get down. Okay. All right, so anyway, I didn't do a whole lot of stitching after the whip parade up until Sunday of last week, and then I stitched a ton. So I just, yeah, I figured I'd get into it and kind of go through my groups and my plans and what I'm doing. Let's see, I did add a little bit extra to Dark Queen of the Seas, which ended up making it so that I could call complete one of the challenges that I didn't think I was going to finish for semi-sane stitching. I did end up finishing it, so I was happy about that. I was surprised because I'd forgotten that I'd actually finished another part of that, and I was ready to be like, oh man, I didn't make it, but then I did, so yay, happiness. But I did add to Dark Queen of the Seas. I did update the total on the bottom of my last video, but I didn't bother to go and update it online with the outrageous headmistress challenge. I figured, you know what I wrote down was close enough to accurate, so we'll just leave it there. So I thought, well, first I did receive some stuff in the mail. First I got a gift from a viewer, and it was really sweet. There wasn't a lot of stitchy stuff in it. It was really more of just happy holidays. She sent me some tea. I myself am not a big tea drinker. I usually go for apple cider or hot chocolate, but that's because I don't know if I steep it right. I've tried some like fruit teas, peppermint teas, and they always just taste really watered down to me, so I'm guessing I'm not doing it right. But she sent some, so I thought maybe I'd try it. But my husband does like herbal and fruit flavored type tea, so we're gonna try that together and see how it tastes. She also sent some candies from Canada. It's called Smarties, that are not like the American Smarties, which are like a chalky sugary candy. These ones, they're kind of similar to M&Ms, but they were yummy. But she sent those for my kids, so I took a few, tasted them, and then handed them out like a good mother will to her children. I handed them out to my kids, and they of course ate them all, along with some candy canes. She sent me a lovely card. She also sent me some thread conditioner, which I have been wanting to try, and I keep leaving it in my room when I'm stitching, so I haven't tried it yet. But I'm going to be doing some stitching later tonight, so this is coming with me. I think this is supposed to help it so your thread glides through your fabric easier, which will keep the friction less so that if you run into the problem of having a long strand all of a sudden just sort of break apart, this is supposed to kind of help keep that from happening. So I'm excited to use this. She also sent me a 2020 charm that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet. I'm thinking that what I want to do is put it, I still have an ornament for 2020 that I want to cross stitch that's a snowman with a mask. I haven't started it yet, so I haven't stitched it yet, but maybe I'll do that and then kind of add the charm somewhere on there. I got to think about what to do with it. It's just a little tiny charm. And then she sent me a magazine with a bunch of really delicious looking recipes that are probably way too fancy for me, but I don't care. I cannot wait to get started with those. So that was really sweet, and that made my day. I was not expecting it, so when this big package came in the mail, it was just, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And she knows who she is. I reached out to her already and talked to her, but I really, really appreciated that. I did order, I showed you all of the patterns that I ordered, and I got all of the fabric and the floss in the mail for that. I didn't buy any special fabric. The only one that had, I ordered just some plain Lugana, some plain white Lugana for, I ordered 2 things of the plain white Lugana, which is very similar to what my Spock was stitched on. And I thought I'd stitch them both on that. And then I changed my mind last minute. First of all, because I realized I forgot to measure. And for my Avatar Alphabet, those were too small. So I had to order another one for Avatar Alphabet. And then I remembered that I was going to make those 2 pillows for the Star Trek. I was going to re-stitch Spock and do the other one. So I'm actually going to use the fabric I ordered for Sherlock and Avatar for the Star Trek pillows, because I have that doubloon fabric that I showed you guys a couple videos ago that I think Sherlock will look good on. And then I ordered some wheat Lugana, just a 28 count wheat Lugana, and you'll see it for my Avatar Alphabet. But I'm not showing you these because, I mean, plain white fabric, yay! I just ordered them from 123 Stitch, nothing fancy. So this year, I always say that I'm part of a couple Facebook groups, but if I think about it, I'm actually part of a lot, but I only participate in a few. And this year I'm participating in 3, and in each one I'm participating in a very, very specific way. So I'm part of a Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group. I do not comment in there. I don't add anything to it. I am just there because sometimes people will post some ideas for conversions for colors that that was a different one. Anyway, I like looking at all the pictures from Heaven and Earth Designs because, I mean, being on that Facebook page, that's how I found Sasquatch. I wouldn't have even thought to look for a Bigfoot themed cross stitch pattern. I found it just because somebody posted. So I'm more of a lurker on that page. I don't comment, I don't post, I don't, do any of that. I just sort of lurk and I enjoy the pictures. I don't think that there's a problem with that. I haven't seen any posts from there saying, hey, if you're part of this page, you need to participate, because they don't do challenges or anything. I'm also part of 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Facebook page. Again, I actually only do 24 Hours of Cross Stitch on their marathons. I don't do the acrostics. She has a whole thing of monthly, hey, here's the holidays that are this month. If you have a cross stitch that fits 1 stitch on it, stitch for 24 minutes a day on a project. I don't do any of that. There's nothing wrong with those. They just don't make me go, ooh, that sounds fun. But the 24-hour marathon does. So that happens 4 times a year. So I do participate for that, and then I will post during that time frame on that Facebook page. The ones that I am mainly involved in are School of Magical Stitches and Literature, Semi-Sane Stitchers, which is still fairly new to me, and Full Coverage Fanatics. So in Magical Stitches, last year, I was really big on doing all of the reading challenges, the homework, the extra credit, the outrageous headmistress. Anytime there was a pop-up event or little side quests that would kind of pop up every now and then, I would go and do those. There were a whole lot of other challenges in that group that I didn't even touch. And in the end, I didn't even actually, there was a way that you could take all of the books that you read and you could take the titles and you could match them up to letters of a person's name and get points. I didn't even bother doing that. I read all the books that I needed to, but then I just didn't. Yeah. So, but this year it's different. This year it's based on Percy Jackson. So we're going to be reading all of the original Percy Jackson books and then all of the Last Olympian books, the Roman gods, I believe, at the end of the year. And it's a battle thing. And so you get to be on a team, and you can either be part of the team where you're actively doing a lot of stitching, or you can be a helper where you're not really, if you can stitch, then your points go somewhere to help someone, but it's not, you're not being nobody's like, you got to get your stuff done because we need you this week type thing. It's more of a, hey, thanks so much, you're helping me out by stitching this week. That's awesome. So there's levels of participation this year. I want to be on a team. For sure, I want to be on a team. And so I'm trying to stitch like I want to be on a team. And there's pop-up events throughout the year and stuff like that. So I'm very much, that's my number one, very much, I love School of Magical Stitches. Right now, my focus in Semi-Sane, what's fun about Semi-Sane is that they do monthly challenges, they do yearly ones, but they do monthly ones, so they change up, and they have so many, and you can just kind of pick and choose. So like right now, some of the people I know are doing this snowball fight thing, which I wasn't into, so I'm not doing that. Mainly what I'm doing is they have one where it's a monthly focus, so every month you can choose a piece to focus on and get as many stitches as you want. And you get bonuses each month that you go, and at the end of the year, you're, depending on how many months and this and that and the other, you can be entered into a drawing for something. So I'm doing that one and using my monthly focus to be my map of Middle-earth. There's also one called Nerdapalooza for January only, where you can stitch on as many of your nerdy whips as you can. I haven't actually started on that one yet. I have nerdy whips, I just haven't had the time because I was doing some other stuff. So that's what that one is so far for Semi-Sane. I think there might be one more that I'm working on. Oh yes, Alphabet, and that is a year-long one where each month you stitch on a whip with an alphabet. Preferably, I think one of the ones where it is an alphabet. That's what I got Avatar Alphabet for, where the whole thing is the alphabet, just with some extra design on the side. But I mean, you could stitch on a sampler that has an alphabet in it. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. But the point is that in January, you'll stitch A and B. In February, C and D, etc., all the way to the end of the year. So I'm doing that. And then in full coverage, Fanatics, they have one called 21 and 21, which is 21,000 stitches on one project in the year 2021. So I'm using Magic Study for that one, because Magic Study is also a focus piece that I'm working on in Magical Stitches. So if I get the stitches I need for one, then I can use that as the stitches I need for the other, if that makes sense. So those are the three groups I'm working on. And so and I'm telling you this because I'm probably going to say, oh yeah, and this was my focus piece and blah, 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 blah. I just wanted you to understand what I meant by that. I stitched on 5 projects this week, and yeah, I put in a lot of stitches, a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Sorry, I did not take this out of the bag ahead of time, so it's a little noisy, but I had mentioned that I had really wanted to work on this because I hadn't touched it, and I decided we had to do our introduction to magical stitches for the year was stitch on anything you want, as many stitches as you can, between the 1st and I think the 3rd of January. If the 3rd was a Sunday, I can't remember. It ended on Sunday night, and then Monday, whatever the first Monday of January was, we started something new. So I pulled out Pavan and added a bunch of stitches. I am gonna have to go on my computer to find all of my previous photos because it's been a long time. But I had these two and the vase, but I added all of this, got more of, I actually had to unpick the entire border because down here it goes 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 3 stitch, 2 stitch, 1 stitch, and then 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, and that's how this border goes. And down here I did 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, and it was clear back at the beginning, so I had to unpick all of that, redo it, bring it back up. But the top of the design ends right about here, so that's the top. And then, I mean, I'm not even close, but I'm like 39% done. So one more time. I still love this piece. I still love this piece, and I need to find more excuses to work on this. I would work on it as a focus piece for one of the months, but then that kind of takes away some options. So I really want to put a lot into Middle Earth. All right, so then we have Dark Queen. And I know when you saw her last, I was still working on her hair. Well, I finished that. I actually finished that before January 1st. And then, then they released the first part, or the 5th part, I'm sorry. They released the new one. And it just so happened it worked for one of my magical stitches prompts, so I finished almost the entire 5th prompt. I actually forced myself to stop and find a different project so that I could work on this again later in the month for a prompt if I could find one. So here we go. So I finished her hair and it is gorgeous. She is gorgeous. And then added all of that. And there's only probably like 300 or 400 more stitches. I just have to finish a couple more leaves up here. And then I will be caught up and ready for February. I didn't actually think I would get that caught up with this one. I haven't been far behind, but I have yet to have had it finished by the time the next part releases. So I was so proud of myself. The next one was, I decided to put as much as I could. I gave myself 2 days. Oh, my stuff is falling, sorry. I gave myself 2 days to work solely on Magic Study because Magic Study is a focus piece and it wasn't for any prompt, it was just to work the focus piece. And it doesn't look like a lot, even when I look at the before and afters. I know it's a lot because I put almost 2,000 stitches in it, but it doesn't look like it because the stitches, again, are so small because it's 28 count 1/1. So here we are with Magic Study. I have like one more square over and then down and down to here, and I've almost got a page finished. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick at least one day every week where I focus and only work on this, 1 or 2 days. But I'm also trying to do most of my stitching during the week so that on the weekends I don't feel pressure to ignore any family time for my stitching because I'm behind. So there was that. I started my avatar alphabet, and I mean this thing's gonna be pretty big. It was, I want to say, almost 300 stitches by 300 stitches, and I am doing it on 28 count because this is going to be a focus piece in our house down by where our kids watch TV. And I finished the whole first part with Aang. Now it doesn't have the names in the pattern I put the names on, and the names are going to vary. So like for this one, he's Avatar Aang because he is. The next one is actually Toph, because I'm switching it. It was a character named Bato, but he plays kind of a minor role. I mean, he's in the show. He's a friend of the father of the main 3 characters, and I think he plays some integral parts in the battles that they have, but he's not my favorite character. I have some other characters that work better in the T position than Toph. And since Toph's last name is Beifong, she's going to be in the B. And so it'll probably say something, it'll probably just be Toph Beifong. And yeah, maybe I'll underline. I'm trying to decide if I want to go back and maybe like put a square around the letter to match, or if that's just stupid. I don't know. So I'm going to start working on that, not this week, but next week, because I had so much fun stitching on this. I did not want to stop at all, and I needed to force myself to stop, because I just would have kept going. This was fun. This was fun. And this is the wheat Lugana, so it's just a nice tan color, which works very, very well. And that was about 800 stitches. So gosh, I put over 2,000 in Dark Queen between the last time you saw the video and that. I put, I want to say it was a 2,000 in the, no, it might have only been 1,100. I think it might have been 1,100 in Pavan. And then I put, I can remember offhand, close to 2,000 or just over 2,000. Yeah, it's over 2,000 on Middle Earth. And here we are. I've done a lot. I finished getting it up to where I want it here. Now I'm working down here on the bottom to get it so that it's even, and then I'm going to come back up here and start and kind of just keep coming down on the diagonal. I like the diagonal. I love how this looks every time I add. In fact, this is what I'm working on today. This is, I'm using this for Magical Studies homework this week, plus it works for my semi-sane focus piece. But we're supposed to spell out the word demigod by using things in our pattern, and this just happens to be a map, and it works because it's a drawing of a map. Let's see, there's Earth, because the land is Earth. M was there's mountains or map. I was this island here. G is for the ground. O is for the ocean. And then the other D is, I've got destinations because each of these places is a destination for the hobbits. But I'm also, there's also some forest areas, but it's really dense forest because the elves, the wood elves hide in the forests. So it's dense forest. But I didn't know, so I'm just putting destinations on there, and then if they give me crap, which they won't, because they'll message me if there's a problem with it, I can say, okay, change it to that. So it works, and I just need 1,200 stitches in it to complete that, which will not be hard because I will sit in front of TV and just stitch away. And that is my stitching for this last week, and it was a lot. I was really proud. I have not started Sherlock yet. I haven't decided when I'm going to start that, but I am going to start my 11Zs, which is, I think it says like breakfast 11Zs, lunch, second lunch. It's a Hobbit thing for Nerdapalooza. And then I'm looking for a cross stitch for cancer awareness. A dear friend just got diagnosed with a brain tumor and cancer and is currently had surgery and chemotherapy, and I wanted to do one, just something very simple. I didn't want like this big massive thing, and I found one on Etsy that says no one fights alone. I think it said no one fights alone with the ribbon, and then I just need to change the color because when you look for them, they're all like pink ribbons, which is of course breast cancer. Brain cancer is a gray ribbon, so I'm going to change the color, but I think I'm going to try to add something around it. I'm trying to find one that's not, I don't want one that curses because she's not a cursing girl. I'm not a cursing girl, so I don't want, the F you cancer. While I totally understand the sentiment to that, that's not appropriate for us. So, so you may see that pop up if I end up picking up that pattern. Anyway, all that being said, I'm going to spend the rest of the day stitching. I'm very excited for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about, which I don't think there is. I think that does it. All right. Well, I am gonna go have a snack because I'm starving. And I'm gonna go put my stitching away, and I'm gonna work on some Middle Earth and watch some Without a Trace because I have it on iTunes and I haven't watched it in years, and I don't know what else to watch. And either that or maybe I'll listen to a book. We'll see. So anyway, hopefully you guys have a wonderful week and happy stitching. And I will talk to you next week. So, bye.